name is Ruth. I work here at Lakeside Nature Center, and today we're going to talk about reuniting baby raptors. And what is a raptor? A raptor is a large bird of prey that has large talons and a large beak, and they're the birds that go out and actually kill their prey. That would include all your owls, hawks, eagles, falcons, and kites. We also put turkey vultures and other vultures in that category too. Even though they don't kill their prey, they still do prey on once living species. So the typical nesting time for raptors varies from species to species. The first species to start nesting are your owls. And first are your great horned owls, and then it goes down your barred owls down to your smaller owls. And then the hawks will generally start, and then it'll go kind of down from size typically. Great horned owls usually have 2 babies a year. The barred owls will also have 2. And then your smaller species, such as American kestrels, they might have even up to 5, possibly 6 babies a year. They only nest one time. If they have a nest destroyed or something happens to their nest, if it's early enough in the season, they will re-nest again. Some of the reasons why you might find a baby raptor on the ground would be if something happened to the nest. A lot of times, great horned owls will just kind of usurp old hawk nests, and over time they'll start to fall apart. So those nests might just fall apart during a storm or heavy activity in the nest, and the babies will fall to the ground. Barred owls will nest in old cavities of trees, and they reuse those nest sites over and over again. And if those trees start to fall apart and decay, the babies can easily fall out. Or there might be a lightning striking the tree, causing that to cleave and fall apart, and the babies will come onto the ground. So here is an imitation little raptor baby, and typically you'll find this guy just sitting, usually at the base of a tree. If you find a little guy like that, most of the time the nest is going to be in the tree that it's found by. If this situation does occur, what you want to do is check the baby out, make sure it looks okay. It's okay to touch them, but you do have to be careful of the parents. They might be very protective, especially the bigger species like great horned owls. They might actually dive bomb predators that are trying to get their babies. So be aware of your surroundings when you're going to approach that little baby owl or hawk. What you want to do is, if it's in an open area, you do want to put it into a container or a box to keep it safe, and immediately call Lakeside Nature Center. What we'll do is we'll talk you through the situation. It's always great to take a picture of the baby and send it to us, and you'll do that over the phone. We can give you a number to call, send us a picture so we can get an idea of what's going on. And then if you're able to bring that baby into us, we can check it out. A lot of times, if they do fall from a very high distance, they can break a little leg or possibly a wing, and it can be somewhat unnoticeable to an untrained eye because their limbs are so small. So we'll check that baby out and make sure there's nothing going on with it before we attempt to re-nest. At about 6 weeks of age, owlets are called branchers, and they're called this because they start to come out of the nest and they walk along the branch, and they're starting to strengthen up their flight muscles. At this time, a lot of times they'll fall to the ground, and people will find them on the ground. They pretty much have most of their feathers in, and they might just have a little fuzz around their face and still look like babies, but also start to look like adults. At this time, the parents will still protect them on the ground. They'll swoop any predators that come by, and they're pretty safe. And a lot of times even dogs are kind of afraid to approach them because they snap their beaks and they do look pretty ferocious, but they're not quite ready to fly yet. They will climb up. They can actually climb up the side of trees if they're really textured and they're not too steep. They can climb up the tree using their talons and their beak and get up to the lower branches. And they'll kind of keep doing this until they can start flying well. At this time, when you do find them and you put them back up in the tree, a lot of times they'll just fall out anyway. So branchers are one of those ages where We have to figure out whether it's worth putting up a nest or getting back up in the tree, or just kind of let that natural process take hold. And sending a picture or bringing them in will allow us to figure out what stage of development they're at and what the best course of action will be. And then we have a trained group of volunteers and staff called the Raptor Task Force. They are trained to go out and re-nest baby raptors. We do that in a few different ways. If the nest is destroyed or too high to get to, what we do is we put a second nest up made out of either a wicker basket or a laundry basket, and we can put that up into a tree, put the baby back in it, and most cases, especially in owls, they will take care of that baby and an alternate nest as well. Hawks are a little different, and we employ a little different strategies with hawks. We've actually had a partnership with Evergy recently, and they're amazing. They helped us last year using one of their bucket trucks, and we were able to get a broadwing hawk back into a nest that was too high for us to get to and get up into a tree safely with a ladder or any climbing ropes, things like that. So that worked out great. But with owls, it works really wonderfully just to get those babies up in the same tree or a local tree, and they'll take care of that baby wherever it's at. It also works great to foster out a baby owl to an existing nest. If we can't find where that original nest was at, owls will take on one more baby. They usually do fine with that, and it doesn't cause too much stress on their ability to get food for all their babies, and they will take care of that foster baby like their own. There are a few questions we're going to ask you when you do bring in the owl or the other raptor, so be aware of that when you're bringing him in. One thing is, how long have you seen the nest there? Can you see the nest? Have you seen both parents around? If there is a nest up there, do you see other siblings as well? And also too, if you could mark the tree, the closest tree where the baby was found with either flagging or some kind of marker, and let us know if we have permission to go on your property. And if so, then the Raptor Task Force can go on your property without you being there and put the baby bird back up in the tree. And having knowledge of where the baby was found is very helpful. One way to locate a nest too, if you're kind of unfamiliar with where it may have come from, or if you think it moved around a lot, these are called owl pellets. And actually all raptors will cast something left over from what they eat, but owl pellets specifically have little bones of the animals that they've eaten in them. And they'll be scattered around the base of the tree along with little parts of bone, or you might see some fur of the animals they're eating. And you'll also find this at other raptor nests as well. Other hawks will have evidence of eating at the base of the tree. So look for those, mark the tree, bring in your baby, and we'll do the best to get it back out there with his parents. So re-nesting of raptors is pretty successful. So if you do find yourself with this situation, give us a call, we'll walk you through it, and we'll get those babies back in the trees. Thank you very much.